Hi, it's Paul, and today I'm an old man with my summer 2021 project of this outside seating area. It's not so much a how-to, there are better folk than me to tell you how to build stuff. This is more about the process I use to design it, cost it, and source the materials without having to spend large amounts of money. What tends to happen then is the client comes with a concept, and my role is to bring that concept to reality. We can translate that as my wife shows me a piece of paper with a sketch on and says, "Can you build this?" And I go away and figure out how to make it work. We have to start somewhere, and the start points in this instance were that we had a piece of deck that we wanted to site the seating on, and we had some cushions we'd got in an outdoor shop that we wanted to use. First thing I did then was work out how the seating would fit on the deck. I did this by taking a roll of lining paper, pinning it to the deck, and then marking out the area where I thought the actual seating positions should be. Generally, I'd expect to do this 2 or 3 times, but to be fair, it fell right first time for once. Okay, so that's the base area begun. Then I moved on to the computer to draw it out. I used a program called SketchUp, of which there's a free web-based version. There's plenty of 3D design CAD programs about, but my issue is that a usage of a couple of times a year, a paid system doesn't work for me. I used to use Shaper 3D on the iPad, but you can now only save 2 projects on that, which is just no good. With SketchUp, I can draw the base outline and then just pull everything up from the floor. This is sped up by about 6 times, but you can get the idea. The 3D view means it's great for visualising and showing the look of the finished article. I drew it out 3 different ways that I thought it might work, mainly relating to the top beam layout, and we settled on one. The 2 main advantages of SketchUp to me are that for someone who has no training in CAD, I could draw this up relatively quickly, although I'll come back to that, and also it gave me the dimensions of all the materials, which was quite important later on. I'll make a couple of important notes before we move on. I'm not connected to SketchUp in any way, I'm not being paid by them, or I'm not affiliated. It's just the best software I've found for this part of the process that costs me nothing. I'm also not an expert in SketchUp by any means, so I'll add that it probably took me a couple of weeks of lost evenings to get the finished drawings together. Okay, I mentioned that I could get all the dimensions of the pieces. The only thing I couldn't figure easily was how to mark them on the drawing, so instead I printed out 3 different views and numbered the components on the drawings. Then I created a spreadsheet to put all my components into. I gave each component a part number and a name, and then took the dimensions from SketchUp and put them into the same spreadsheet. I added a quantity for each component, and then I added a percentage per component for wastage, or cutting it wrong, as we call it. Then I moved to an app called CutLister on my iPad. Again, I'm not being paid by CutLister and I've got no connection with them. I think I paid about £12 for the app a couple of years ago when I got it. CutLister is a cut optimization tool. There's others available. There are web-based ones, there's PC-based ones, there's all sorts. But essentially, it's an app that you put the component dimensions into, along with the quantity that you want. You also put in the raw material dimensions that you intend to use. So, for instance, 3 metre lengths of 80 by 100 or whatever. You press a button and it tells you how much of the raw material you need and the best way to cut it to get all your components out. So I put it all in CutLister, I press a button, it splurges out a cut list and a note of how much raw material I need, and then it's off to search the web for the best deal. I'll make a further note here that normally I'd consider going to the timber merchant and hand selecting the timber I want. The advantage to this is you can hopefully end up with less crap and rubbish timber basically. In this instance, visiting the merchant was out due to COVID, so everything was done very easily on the web. Clicked some buttons, signed away a huge chunk of money, and off we go. Material was delivered about a week or so later, and then the build started. As I said at the beginning, this isn't a how-to, and not everybody would build it in the way I did. I used floating tenon joints because there were lots to do, and I've got a ridiculously expensive Festool tool to do them with. Many people will say it should be half lap joints for strength and longevity. It's individual choice. Go make yours, take responsibility for it. If this falls apart in a year or so, it's my problem and nobody else's. If you want to know how to build stuff properly, go and watch the channels of folk like Scott Brown, Gid Joiner. Gid Joiner built a pergola around the same time as I built this, and he gives adequate reason for building things in specific ways. He's also a tradesman. I built mine a different way. I'm not a tradesman, and like I say, the risk is mine. But I am very happy with the finished product. Hope you like it as well. Anyway, enough rambling. If this has helped inspire you or given you some food for thought, great. If you've got any questions or comments, stick them in the comments below, or wander over to oldmanwith.com and use the Ask a Question function, and I'll see you in the next time. Bye.